Nothing that we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Good morning, everybody. Cowboy here, and it is 8:30 a.m. EST, and the data just came out for unemployment claims. Let's see what the number is. It's just slightly higher than expected, so we're looking at more or less of like kind of a nothing burger on the unemployment, right? So it shouldn't affect markets too much. So we'll jump right into the charts. We're going to start with Bitcoin, as we generally do. And it does appear that Bitcoin is going to remain more or less in this higher time frame range, right? And this range has gotten a little harder to define because if you look at it, really, you're seeing some lower highs and lower lows, right? You see kind of like this, and you see kind of like this. Yeah. So, with that, it's looking more like I don't know, what would you call that? Not quite a bear flag. Now, bear flags have to have an upward tilt to them. But long story short, it is a consolidation and we'll continue to treat it as such. Just understand that the highs may no longer be as high or the lows might get lower as time goes on. And that tends to be a bearish thing over time. And as we can see, price dipped down where I thought it would go more or less. I thought price would go down to about maybe 93,000 at one point, as you can see by the arrow here. I also had a trade target at 94,500, and price actually dipped all the way down to 93,400. So all that to say, price is continuing on a bit of a bearish path, but we do have some stuff in the algos saying it might be time for price to turn around and go bullish. But that turnaround, if it were to happen, I think might be not that fast. If you look on the daily, though, just kind of your key basic indicators you can look at here is the MACD, and this is a bullish flip on that MACD, right? You see the histogram is getting tighter here against the zero line. You have candle as it stands right now. Of course, the daily candle has not closed, but you can see here that the MACD, the blue line right there, is crossing above the orange line and probably will do so by the daily close. So this is at least a short-term bullish look. The question is, as I look at this consolidation, the larger consolidation, go back to November, the question is whether or not price will be able to break this mini range, even if it does go bullish. And as it stands right now, if I had to take a guess as to what will happen in the next week or so, I think price might kind of just mosey on up towards this 99,000 area, really the top of the range being at, again, this is kind of hard to define at this point because of the way this range keeps heading down, but most of the pivoting seems to be around like 98.5, 98.7, something like that. So price may just kind of bump its head against this local high here at 98,814. That's going back to what is this, the 15th, the 14th, right? In the afternoon of the 14th, this high right there. So now price, of course, it could pull back, do a lot of different things in that time, but I don't expect a lot in the next couple of days. If you look at the news itself, tomorrow there is all the PMI data, and that's between Europe, US, and Great Britain. And unless there's something that's extremely surprising, I just expect Bitcoin to continue to just head up right now and just to grind upwards. It might pull back, grab liquidity, but in the end, I think it will just kind of go sideways to up until it heads to that 98,500 area. And then whatever happens there, is going to happen. And it might not even make it up there or whatever. It might not get there. The volatility seems to be falling off consistently. Now, if this volatility really fizzles out, then you might be looking at a pullback, as I just kind of said, but it might pull back a little bit deeper than what I drew. So, we'll see about it. But really, price remains range locked and not a lot going on in crypto. If you look at all the different altcoins, alts are suffering big time. Now they're seeing a little bit of green today. You have your outliers like PIF here has had a good several hours, and I did predict that PIF might do so. You can see that white line that I predicted on the show, the private live lab just yesterday. You have Atom having a decent little day. And of course, this is all related to Bitcoin moving. You do have BNB that has been consistently strong. If you go back, on the higher frame, like I say on the daily or weekly chart, BNB has really retained a lot of the gains that it got in when was this? 2023 September when the big run started. It never even got past on the downside 400, and it really has mostly stayed above 470. So BNB has been consistently good and is showing a strong uptrend, right? So higher highs, higher lows. And that's really all you can ask for, especially in the current market where, things have really dried up for crypto temporarily. Now, these crypto dry ups do happen even in the bull market, and you can expect a 30% pullback at any given time in the bull. These things happen, and we did have a 30% pullback last year, and I expect to see another one at some time. But as it stands, BNB has broken its all-time high in December, and it's stayed up pretty high with the exception of that pullback that we saw in early February. So that's the crypto market for you. Let's take a brief look at the Forex market. I'm just going to look at the DXY for the moment. This is the dollar index as relates to a basket of currencies, and you can see that the dollar has actually gotten a bit weaker in the last month and a half or so, going back to January, right, to mid-January. The dollar has been kind of heading down, not necessarily too precipitously, but it's a steady trend, right? So if you go to the daily, you'll see it. And what that's going to do is it's going to push up on the other currencies against which it's traded. In this case, on the Dixie. So you got British pound, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, the DXY is going to be the British pound, Japanese yen, the euro primarily, or at least the euro is going to be the biggest of its comparisons, and the Swiss franc, maybe a little bit of Canadian dollar, and yeah, just going back to what date is this? Mid-January, January 13th, the pullback in the Dixie is about 3%. Now, in the Forex world, that's massive when you trade Forex, right? Because this is such a massive market. You talk about all the money in the world, right? That's basically what Forex is. That's a hyper simplification. But what the dollar has done in this case is it's gone to top of what used to be this big range right here. And that's a range that goes back to 2022. And so price has gone, it broke out, and as breakouts do, it pulled back to this range. And what that might mean is that the dollar is about to get strong. It could mean also that it doesn't do that and price goes back into that range and the Forex world stays more or less consistent. So we can see price head back in here and just kind of make its way down again. And the dollar remains weak for, half of this year or longer. Or you can see that we actually do get a breakout here. And we get a nice breakout that really could take the dollar a lot higher. Now, a strong dollar is, a lot of people say, hey, that's great. Well, is it great? I mean, it's good if you are in the financial economy, which the US primarily is. However, it's tough on exports. So the whole landscape of the world's changing drastically. And I know everybody is, some people cheerleading it, others are hating it. What we're doing is we're trading it, right? So like it or not, things are changing and we have a choice. And I don't care what your politics are. We have a choice. We can make money on it or not. And the expert on this conversation is now here with us. Feed the Guerilla. How are you, sir?
Good evening.
Good morning, sir.
What's up, guys?
Oh no, we're just we're just kind of getting out of the public here. We're still on the public
Oh,
live,
good.
so don't give any secrets out here.
No, I won't
But
give
I
any
just
secret sauce.
no, what I was kind of doing was I didn't want to necessarily. Well, we only have 10 minutes, so I charted a bunch of crypto here. But I was pointing out here that the Dixie is looking interesting to me. It range locked between late 2022 and late 2024. So 2 years almost exactly, a range locked. Now it's popped up, and as consolidations do, generally you're going to get a move in one direction or the other on a breakout. So the dollar could get stronger for the foreseeable future, or it could pop back into this range for the next 6 months and again, be range locked and not differentiate from the other currencies. And what I was saying was that in this changing landscape of, tariffs and trade deals and, all that kind of stuff, I don't care what political group you're with or how you identify in any way, shape, or form. What we do at Algo Factory is we don't complain, we make money, right? And if people complain, I tell them very kindly to shut their hole and make some money. So anyway, I thought I would point this out to you and just get a brief opinion since you got your finger on geopolitics. Do you think we're going to see the dollar get stronger for the rest of this year on average, or do you think it's going to kind of equalize and not really move against the other major
No,
currencies?
it's going to get stronger because for a
Okay.
lot of reasons. Europe is imploding. Europe is a sick man. There's a lot of capital outflow. It's got to go somewhere. It's coming here, right? So in the short term, the dollar is going to be strengthened. The long term plan of the sovereigntist administration that's taken over and dismantling literally 100 years of globalism, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Oh yeah, I love, dude. I'm
Yeah,
just like, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
you folks who are complaining, my advice to you: shut the f up and enjoy the prosperity, enjoy the freedom that you're about to parlay in, especially if you're trading this, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Get ready to enjoy some of the best years of your life. That's all I got to say. The rest of you can go suck a you know what. With that being said, so in the long term, the plan is to weaken the dollar because we are going to retool in some sort of capacity, especially with manufacturing and whatnot. And in order for playing that game, you need to have a weaker dollar. You can't have a stronger, the stronger dollar plays the game, especially in the financial paper market, the speculative economy. But in the physical economy, you need to have a cheaper currency. One of the things that we've learned is we do not want to go down the pathway of the UK. The UK is pretty much 100%, fire economy, finance, insurance, real estate, right? It's a complete speculative economy. The city of London is the parasitic parasite that has sucked the blood out of England and has left it for nothing. England is done, right? So we've learned from that, and I think the administration in power does not, those that are in power do not want us to end up like the UK. So in order to do that, you have to revitalize your manufacturing. You got to weaken your currency. You got to get rid of things that make it absolutely impossible for your citizenry to live, which is the punitive taxes and regulations and statutes and all this other crap that doesn't mean anything, And that's where we're headed.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Oh, no, that's it. That's all I got to say.
Well, check this out. This would be fun. And it's just, I am so loving this thrash mode, the tantrums that are being thrown right now. It just cracks me up. Let me go ahead and present the screen. And we're going to take a look at this article from Zero Hedge. So I got in this argument that ultimately I just stopped talking to these people for the most part, at least about politics. Some of my old buddies, and it's great to have old friends, but when they got like a mental problem, you got to just get away from those kind of people. And ultimately, whoever you surround yourself with is who you're going to become. So you got to change your circle. Long story short, I went ahead and blocked that group because they can't shut the hell up about politics. But the funny part was that somebody put out like some dumb thing on Reddit where Trump says, "Oh, well, we're doing an executive order to say that what we say the law is what the law is." And all the liberals are up in arms, like, "Oh, he's a dictator and he's usurping his authority, and so much for the separation of powers." Like, no, dumb fuck. Excuse my language. If you go ahead and stop being a clown and stop being a crybaby and stop being upset when Reddit tells you to get upset, because that's what you're doing, read the executive order. The problem that we've had over the last 100 years is that the authority of the people has been usurped. And how is that done? It's done in many, many ways. But a key way that that's been done is that the decisions that should be made by elected representatives are being pawned off to one of many. I can think of two of many types of groups. One of them are, what do you call these things? SEC, FCC, like what are they called? Like regulators.
Yep.
So regulation is law. Nobody should be making law besides Congress. And the reason that that's not a good thing, and I don't care if they're making good or bad decisions, and I can cite a million really bad decisions made by the SEC and other regulators. If I don't want to go down this path right now, but the problem is you can't You can't what do you call it? You can't vote them out. You can't fire the regulators via the ballot box. You can't do it. And that's so they shouldn't be making any rules. The only people who should make rules need to be accountable to the electorate. And that's what this executive order is doing. It's taking the power and putting it back into the people's hands. And you get all these crybabies who Trump's doing. No, he's literally like undoing so many really bad things that have been happening. And the leftists should be on their knees thanking the current administration for putting the power back in their hands. Because if you can't vote out the SEC, if you can't vote out who's ever in charge of these regulators, then the laws are going to get made without without the influence of the public. So now here's the best part. They're talking about sending a $5,000 check to everybody because of the savings that Doge is making.
Yep.
Right? Remember like when Bush gave us all like $300 and everybody cheered? Or was it 600? It was like $600. Bush gave us like a car payment.
Yeah,
and everybody
not
cheered.
Even.
Yeah,
Not
like
even. It's a light bill. It's a light bill.
Yeah, it's a light bill. We might get a $5,000 check. They're expecting to cut $2 trillion out of the budget. They're talking about cutting Pentagon military spending by 40%. So, all I'm telling you is that there's big changes coming. And if you don't see it, even if you don't like what these changes are, trade them. Use it to your advantage. Because you know what we had to do the last 8 years, the last 12 years, the last 16 years while the Democrats and the leftists ran rampant over our freedoms and our rights? We traded it. We just traded it. It's like, okay, fine. We can complain. We can talk about what the problem is, but make some money while you're at it and shut your hole. So our advice to you is shut your hole, come to Algo Factory. Can you get us over to the private, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, call us over to the private chat. Listen, no matter whether you like it or you don't like it, like the Cowboy says, you can trade it. So join us, learn to trade, learn to build the algorithms. I'll trade on your behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right here, algofactory.tech. Cowboy, take it away.
Join us or die.